everybody, Jerlyn Rose here. Gilding flakes are like childbirth. After a day or two, you forget the pain of the floaties and go, why don't I do this more? Well, here we are again. Another month has gone by and it's time for the tags and techniques hop. This month, we're doing supposedly less mass gilding flakes. Yeah, no, the floaties are still going to be an ever-present problem. I do not do these this often. I do have the gilding flakes, as you can see from years ago. You can see how very little I've used of them. However, I was like, okay, well, we always have to give things a try, right? Remember why we do and don't like them. And yes, there were definitely pros and cons to this on reminders for me on what I didn't like about it. What we were attempting this time was using a double-sided adhesive sheet put onto paper, and that is what we're sticking the gilding flakes to. And that, instead of using the sticky tacky glue, is supposed to help with lessening the mess. I did discover mainly that, number one, don't do this in a pink fluffy reindeer house coat. And number two, you should have your entire craft desk covered like with newspaper or something else. You can see I've brought out another piece of paper here to kind of combat that. So what you do is after getting your paper down and peeling the backing sheet off, and you use that so that your fingers don't get stuck to it. And that's the other thing. My nails kept getting stuck to it. My pink fluffy reindeer house coat kept getting stuck to it. Everything kept getting stuck to it. But use that, put your pieces down, use a brush to burnish them in after you used your finger to do that, and then put all those little scrap pieces into a spare jar. I am now embossing this one, and this is where I discovered that, hey, wait, why is this sticking? And there were a few other people that discovered this too. We think it might be because the embossing folder, as it's pushing it through, is exposing possibly some of the adhesive underneath. But it was a really weird phenomenon, and it did it. You can see that when I'm doing the bigger panel here, it did it with this one as well. So when I ended up doing the final panel, I knew to very slowly peel it back. I thought I would try edging it with some pigment ink, and I thought, oh, just put it aside to dry. It'll dry within an hour or two. No, it didn't. If you're going to do that, even heat embossing it, which is dangerous because the foil, the flakes, because they are a foil, they can actually like warp a little bit. This one, I went the route of putting embossing glazes and embossing powder over top of it, hoping that that would help it. It set it around the outside and had a really nice glazing effect, but that center portion, it was rubbing off black pigment ink when I was running it through the die cut machine the next time. It was rubbing off on my hands. It was rubbing off on my pink fluffy reindeer house coat. And so I ended up not liking this panel. I'm cutting it down now, but there was just something that was bugging me about it. I did use the deboss side for this one. The other one, I've still got aside trying to dry it. This is like late at night, as you can see. I'm getting ready for bed. I'm just preparing the tag, which I will stick that smaller piece on because we've got rings that we have all these techniques on. I'm getting ready some of the Valentine hearts that I'm doing for this. I used a couple of different die sets, and I used some glitter, some metallic paper, and I thought I would just use it as one focal accent point. So next day, I had sat on that all night and I just don't like that panel. So I kept it aside so that I can die cut out of it, and I'm redoing the panel here. Having learned a few things, like the extra paper down on the desk, using a type of clothing which will be less flake adherent, and trust me, they are all through the house now. They're like gold and silver and copper fruit flies that have just migrated through all 3 floors as much as you try clean up. They were sticking to my nail polish. Oh, yeah. That would be the part that I don't like about this technique. But then when you burnish it like this and go in little circles back and forth with a brush that you're not really worried about trashing too badly, it's like, oh, that's quite pretty. I did try my bone folder to get the worst of the chunkies off, and that I was like, oh, I'm running the danger of scratching them. So I stopped that, went back to the brush, and you burnish it at the end, a final burnish with your microfiber cloth. So this one, I thought, okay, I can do a Valentine's card with this. So got out one of my old Sizzix ones, ran it through with that. I was checking to make certain I had it on the correct side, that I wasn't going to deboss it, that I was going to emboss it. I did. Yay. Got out those hearts that I'd already cut out, and I'm auditioning which of my many love dies I'm going to end up using here. This one, I thought the swoop would go well with the swoop of that heart sash, but it just didn't look right on the card. So I went back to the smaller love just as a better focal point. And that's the one that I die cut out of the other panel that I didn't end up using off of camera. All right, so that one metallic heart, I did put some foam backing down behind it so that it would all be at the same level as the others. That little red metallic heart in the middle. And what we're going to do now, you can see I've got the wonky rectangles out, and I will end up cutting around that panel to bring everything down. The sentiment used a red pen to edge it out. Here's, of course, getting the panel cut down. It did not take away from too much of the embossing because, of course, your middle part isn't being compressed, right? Poking it out. And the camera was having so much trouble with this because metallic, hey, it didn't know how to focus on it because it reflects light so much. So quite a few exposure problems. Anyway, I'm going to jump to the inside of the card. I wanted this to be just a Valentine's card that I could send out to a friend. So my old close to my heart stuff, which I still am in love with. And the one sub-sentiment, I did put some enchanted gold pigment ink on that to just give it a little highlight. Stamping that down gently. You don't want to squash them too much. All right, so I've got 3 little hearts here. I am doing primary stamping because red is such a dark color, right? And I'm doing secondary stamping onto the card to get that lighter impression of red that I wanted. Custom stamps going down on the back. It's going to be in red. Gluing the paddle down on the front with some crafty tacky glue. That way I can kind of slide it around. Oh, and I had too much bunched up around the outside. That's why I'm smearing it with my fingers. I'm going to wiggle it into place there. We'll set the acrylic block down on top of it. Get out that love sentiment. Glue it down into place. I did use a T-ruler on this one just to double check. On the inside, I had a couple of leftover little mini red hearts from out of the middle of that heart sash die cut in the front. And I am clustering them so that I've got 2 up at the top and 3 down at the bottom for a better visual. And on the front, this one's got odds as well, too. It's like 7 hearts that are there. That love die cut, it's got unity with the foil in the background because it is from one of the foil panels. But I wanted it to have some red on it to match with the red hearts, which is why I was using some of my jewel drops there. I also did that strawberry coulis down underneath what's going to be a clear Trinity heart. And that's the only shiny, shiny bling bling on this one. And that's the finished card. So pro tip, don't do this in a pink fuzzy ranger house coat. Put extra paper down underneath. It's lovely though when it comes out. It's very luscious. Go have some fun in your craft group. Thanks to those people that are nice enough to have subbed to me and liked and commented. We'll catch you all next time. And everybody be that change you want to see in the world. All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye, everybody.